My stepdad needed a place to stay. Sure, why not stay with us, stepdad? Except you're going to have to pay for that. And now she's feeling a bit like an a-hole. Is she or not, Cass?
I'll be 18 in a couple of months, they write. My stepfather of 5 years gave me the heads up that I need to start paying a fair rent to continue living in the house after I turn 18. The house we currently live in belonged to my dad, who died when I was 6. My mom and dad were never married, and I inherited the house, and my mom and I lived here, and then my stepfather moved in after they got married. Looks like my stepfather was under the impression that my mom owns the house. I told him I'm not paying rent and it's not happening as I own the house. He laughed at me and didn't believe it. I talked to my mom, and she confirmed that she never told him that I own the house, and he now knows the truth.
Uh-oh.
So the reality is, he believed it was completely fair to ask me to pay rent when he didn't know I owned the house.
Okay.
So it's only fair that I ask him to pay me rent now.
That must have felt so good for her.
Uh-huh.
Oh, that must have felt so good.
Knocked him down multiple pegs.
Last night, I gave them the heads up that if they continue planning to live here after I turn 18, that's totally fine. But they need to start paying rent. Mm-hmm. My stepfather believes this is unfair as it's a, quote, sudden change and he needs more time, and that I'm being heartless because you don't do this to family. Well, he was prepared to do this to me, so what's the difference? He said he did it to help me gain my independence and prepare for an adult life, and that's part of growing up, whereas I'm doing it to spite. I told him that if I need to pay rent to learn to be an adult, then what does that make him living here rent-free?
Oh, damn. Damn.
He told me I'm out of line, and the conversation ended. My mom believes he made a mistake asking me to pay rent, but I'm being spiteful, and it's wrong of me to push for this as it'll result in our family being torn apart. Am I the a-hole here?
Well, okay, first let me attack the first thing here. I'm on his side on the 18-year-old thing, man. If you're not going to school and you're 18 years old and you're going to live here and not find your own place, I got no beef with him saying you need to find yourself a job and pay rent here. No beef with that.
It's not the same anymore, man. Like, my dad said that to me, too, but the cost of living now and minimum wage doesn't meet it. Things are different.
Yeah, okay. In my house, if you were 18 and you were not going to school and you were working, you would be paying rent at my house.
And by rent, it doesn't mean like you would make it reasonable on the income that they were bringing in.
Or would you?
It's a pretty nice house. I'd pay. He has to pay like it's the Ritz.
This is 5-star home.
That's right.
Because when we say rent, I mean, you could ask your 18-year-old, like, I need $200 a month.
Yeah, I mean, it all depends on what he's making, but I don't want to focus too much on this, but yes, my 18-year-old, if he's not going to school, is not going to be sitting around and not contributing to the home that I am providing for him. So it could be 100, it could be 200, it's going to be something.
Got it.
And this is the reason why Hayden doesn't live with me and he lives with his mom. Okay, so that part I don't got beef with. Mm-hmm. All right, it does change things though, man. I mean, at the end of the day, what is she going to do if they really say, like, we're not going to pay rent? She going to kick them out of the house?
Yeah.
Yes.
I feel like she has made her point, and she did it beautifully, and now she can like sit back and say, you know what, because I care about you both, you don't have to pay rent, and then she can like rest on that she did her family a solid.
Nah, you're gonna pay me this rent.
Are you serious?
I'm dead serious.
You're no problem with it whatsoever.
And I'm with you. I don't have any problem with the fact that stepdad wanted her to pay rent. I completely get it. I can hear my dad saying right now, I know the life has changed, but it hasn't changed in this house. So you gonna pay. I get it. And I think he was right for that. At the same time, well, now the roles are flipped.
Jimmy can stay there till he's 45.
Oh, I bet. I bet, man. Cass?
The thing that gets me is, like, I don't feel like the stepfather cleared this with mom. Yeah. Because mom would have been like, kid owns the house. Right. You can't do that. So she brought this man into her child's home that her child owns. That's fine. You're allowed to live a life, but then allowed that man to disrespect her child and make parenting decisions without her involvement. So I really feel like stepdad is hella in the wrong here. And there's going to have to be some kind of conversation about, I mean, I don't know what it looks like, but about respect. I wouldn't make them pay the rent, but there needs to be a conversation about respect and communication between the parents.
And that's it, Cassie. So instead of paying rent, you now need to pay me respect.
Yes.
Like, that's the conversation you need to have.
All right, Mo, just tell me how that conversation is going to go in your house when you were 17 years old and you're telling your parents that you need to be treated with more respect or they need to pay rent.
Oh, with my parents?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, that conversation not going to happen. Yeah, not with my dad? No.
My dad, all 411 of them, would have beat my ass.
Yeah.
And then
He'd
you
have
can
knocked me
kick
far
them.
away that I couldn't find that house anymore.
It's your house. If they do that, you can kick them out the house. Like, legally, the house belongs to you. And at 17 or 18, if you're going to expect your child to start paying rent and acting as an adult, you need to start treating them like an adult.
Yeah,
There
I'm
you go.
guessing my 17-year-old wouldn't even know how to call a lawyer, or he'd call some personal injury lawyer to take the case. It has nothing to do with it whatsoever.
Dude he saw on the commercial.
All right, so who's being the a-hole here?
Overwhelmingly, they said the stepdad is.
I'm with your stepdad, for sure.
No, stepdad for sure.
Yeah, well, it's across the board, stepdad.
Now, if you kick your parents out, then you're going to be putting on the a-hole crown.
That is going to change things, right?
The Bert Show.
Like what you just watched? Well, you can get way more of The Bert Show on Apple, Spotify, Stitcher, or wherever you get your favorite podcast.